I'm Idiotech, and it's been a while, hasn't it? So first up, I want to apologize for the lack of content over the past couple of weeks, especially to the people who support me on Patreon, because without you, I honestly couldn't do this work, so thank you for bearing with me on that. What happened is simple. Thanksgiving happened, there were a bunch of games on sale, nothing came out, so I took a small break because I've been working flat out for about 2 months. After that, I started work on my Watch Dogs 2 review, and then some pretty serious life events happened that I had to prioritize. Once those calmed down, I then made a mistake, which resulted in me destroying all 3 of my computer monitors. So I couldn't work. I had to order new ones and wait for them to arrive. They arrived, I'm back. So I apologize greatly for the lack of content. I missed Watch Dogs 2, I missed Steep, and it's pretty unfortunate because both of those games were interesting and I had a lot to say about them. Now, that doesn't mean I won't cover them. What I'm thinking of doing is making a video where I cover all of the games I missed. So Civilization 6, Watch Dogs 2, maybe Just Cause 3, maybe even Doom, which got me in a lot of trouble on Reddit for not covering that game, but I might even talk about Doom, because it's an important game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Maybe we'll make a video, just wrapping up and saying, I missed these games, this is what I think about them, just for my subscribers. So you could potentially see that video coming forward in the future. But yeah, I'm really sorry for the lack of content, guys. I try my best. Sometimes life just gets in the way and you have to take care of things. So thank you very much for your support. Onto a more positive subject, however, we just hit 30,000 subscribers. In fact, we're almost at 32,000 subscribers now, which is a huge deal for me personally. I know a lot of people watch YouTube and they think, unless you have millions of subscribers, you're not successful. To me, 30,000 subscribers is a huge milestone. And for me personally, it's a huge success marker. I love doing what I do. It can be very hard, it can be very tiring, I work crazy hours, but fundamentally I enjoy doing this job, and I'm certainly not doing it for the money because it doesn't pay that well. To be honest with you, it's not that lucrative. I do this because I enjoy doing it, I do it because I enjoy the freedom to be able to run my own business and to make YouTube videos for you guys that you enjoy. And to have 30,000 people click that subscribe button is a feeling that I can't describe to you. It just means so much to have that many people validate what it is you're trying to do. And it's huge for me. So thank you so much for all your support. I also want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. As I said, without you guys, I just couldn't do this stuff, That money allows me to live, fundamentally. I have to pay the bills, I have to buy food, and that money really helps me just get by. So thank you so much for that as well. Now, 30,000 subscribers, huge milestone. Last year, I made a video similar to this when we hit 10,000 subscribers, and I did a big Q&A video to follow, and that's exactly what I'm going to do this time. This is not something I want to do on a regular basis because I feel like I'll end up repeating myself, but for now, every year or so when we hit a big milestone, I think it's a good time to do it. We've got 20,000 additional people here, and if you are new to the channel and you don't know much about me and you want to ask a question, feel free to ask a question below in the comments section. And if you've been watching for ages and you're not on Discord asking me questions every single day, then feel free to ask me a question below as well. Now, for those of you on Patreon, I will make a post that you can ask your question on rather than in the comments section of YouTube, and I will prioritize those questions. However, if you watch my previous Q&A video, you'll know that I'm pretty damn diligent when it comes to Q&A videos. I think the last one was over 2 hours long, so prepare yourself for a big video. I tend to answer as many questions as possible and in as much depth as possible, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. So we're going to be working on the Q&A video, so feel free to ask your questions below in this video. Next up, I'm going to be covering Space Hulk Deathwing. Now, it doesn't look that great, I'm going to be honest. It looks like it's going to have a lot of performance issues, it's going to have a lot of problems on launch, but I'm a big 40k guy, and we don't get many 40k games, and this game did look promising, so I kind of want to check it out. So expect a video on that as well. And then after that, I'm going to be moving on to working on my top 10 games of 2016 video. The goal this time around is to go into a little bit more depth and to improve my production values. There are a number of criticisms of the last video that people left in the comments. I've taken all that feedback on board, and I want to try and go into some more depth. Now, I know a lot of people will just skip to find out what the next game is on the list, and that's fine, but for my subscribers, I feel I owe it to you to justify why I'm putting things on the list. So I'm going to do that this time. I'm going to talk about the games, each of them in depth, what I like about them, what I didn't like about them. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not easy this year. Last year was fucking easy. I just put The Witcher at the top of the list, the end. It wasn't a difficult list to make. This year, there are a lot of contenders for that #1 spot, and it's going to be very interesting to find out what actually ends up there, because right now I don't know, and that video is maybe a couple of weeks out. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Otherwise, between now and the end of the year, I'll just be covering anything else that pops up. Sometimes cool indie games show up on Steam, sometimes releases just come out of nowhere, so I'll cover anything of note that does happen to come out or pop up. We'll just play it by ear. When we hit Christmas, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'm going to spend it with the family because they've, frankly, not seen much of me in the past couple of years. So, I'm going to be doing that. In the new year, I've got a bunch of ideas, and I will talk to you about them in depth when we get into the new year itself, but people have said maybe you should do a news show. Maybe you should talk about the industry stuff more. You know, you're not covering that news analytical stuff in as much detail as you could. And that's fair criticism, and I think I should probably be covering that. I did a poll a while ago, and people seemed heavily interested in that type of content. So I may be doing a weekly news show. Who knows? Don't hold me to that, but it's something I have on the cards. I'm also looking to cover indie games in a lot more detail. Indie games are a passion for me. I love indie games. I used to make indie games. I love them. I think they're great. I think they're wonderful for the industry. And because of things like Greenlight, because of the huge oversaturation of asset flip bullshit that comes out of Unity, indie games are kind of buried these days and people don't give them the coverage that they really deserve. So I'm maybe going to go hunting for indie games, find some really good ones, and showcase them on the channel as well. I'd like to diversify the content, and I'd like to resolve some of the content gaps that we have, which quite frankly are due to the fact that I go from review to review to review, and reviews take a long time. You may see some channels just putting out reviews after reviews, just constant streams of reviews as soon as the game comes out. And in a lot of cases, they're not really doing the game's due diligence. And I try to do that, and sometimes it can take me 3-4 days to really dig into a game and work out what's good and bad about it and make a quality video. So I'm going to try and fill those content gaps in the new year. But as I said, I'll go into more depth regarding that stuff once we actually get into the new year, and I'm also going to be looking into some additional Patreon rewards and things like that. So, with all of that out of the way, thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me over the past year and a half. It's been a crazy ride. It's been pretty intense. It's had some ups, it's had some downs, but it's been extremely interesting, and I can't thank all of you enough for supporting my work, supporting my channel, and subscribing. And I will see you guys next time.